Whenever you're ready.
Many of us know who Al Gore is, but by a show of hands, how many of you are familiar with his movie on global warming, An Inconvenient Truth? Okay, keep your hands raised. Now, how many of you know that he also won an Oscar for this movie? Okay, and how many of you also know that he owns 4 SUVs and emits more pollution than the average household? Alright, although I do not deny global warming is an issue, I don't believe it's the crisis the media is making it out to be. The purpose of my speech is to inform you what global warming is, how it's taking place. I feel you guys need to know this so that you're not feeding the pockets of the media, corporations, and politicians on their exaggerated view. First, I will cover what exactly global warming is. I will then explain how it is taking place and how it's being influenced by humans. And I will finally explain how and why global warming is inflated into a disaster it really isn't. So what exactly is global warming? According to Encarta Encyclopedia, global warming is defined as an increase in the average temperature of the atmosphere, oceans, and land masses on Earth. This is bad because such warming would eventually cause the ice caps and glaciers to melt, which would rise the sea level and eventually flood the world. Scientists believe that burning fossil fuels releases carbon dioxide into the air, thus further melting ice caps and another chance of flooding the world. According to John Berger, the author of Beating the Heat, The Why and How We Must Combat Global Warming, a warmer world would cause certain species among plants and animals to become extinct, as well as death in humans from heat stress. Certain parasites like mosquitoes and other bugs would better breed in such warm weathers, and this would cause a more rapid spread of viruses among humanity. Agriculture would not be affected as much just because the plants would continue to grow. They just grow in different areas. And again, the rising sea levels would flood coasts and even whole islands. I'm sure many of you have seen graphs like this. I had taken this from John Berger's book. And along the bottom are the dates, and on the side are the temperatures. And this starts at about 0, the year 0. And it ends at 2000, and as you can see, about 1800, from the 1800 to 2000, it rapidly increases. So is global warming actually taking place? According to Encarta, the Earth has warmed 1 degree over the last century. The problem is that scientists are unsure if this is normal or not, just because they don't have any history to compare it to. They're also unsure if this is just natural and simply an outcome of the Ice Age. Scientists also predict that the Earth will become warmer by reaching anywhere between 2.5 and 10.4 degrees Fahrenheit by the year 2100. So how exactly is global warming being exaggerated by Al Gore and the other politicians? According to NASA, they have 9 orbiting Topex Poseidon satellites since 1979 that go around the world to monitor the average of global temperatures. And NASA says, the lower tropospheric data are often cited as evidence against global warming because they have as yet failed to show any warming trend when averaged over the entire Earth. According to allstarnet.com, computer models back in 1997, which actually gave a good reason for the Kyoto Protocol, are now proving to be wrong when looking at the temperatures they predicted for this year, last year, 2005, and 2004. These same computers, how can we trust such computers when they're not providing accurate predictions for today's dates? Also on allstarnet.com, I have here a graph that was printed in Nature magazine. I know you guys probably can't see here, but there's this one rise that they say was, it was a dip that was all the way down to negative 0.5, which was actually faked. It was actually down to negative 0.1, and again, I'm sorry, you guys can't see it, I don't have the Alamo, but, and it was a retraction was actually forced in Nature magazine. Nature magazine is a very credible resource, so why they would lie about that is enough to cause the computer model's estimations to be wrong. So why would the government lie to us? Why would the media lie to us? Why would Al Gore lie to us? According to Dan Agnew, author of Junk Science, How Politicians, Corporations, and Other Hucksters Betray Us, The problem is that people are not willing to make donations to scientists' research funding without having something to fear. As for Al Gore, he decided to invest money into a carbon offset company to make up for the amount of pollution he's producing into the world. The funny thing is that he also owns a carbon offset company, and thus he's literally taking money from one pocket and putting it in another. So if it's not global warming, what is it? Scientists say we could simply be exiting the ice age, as I mentioned previously. It's also possible that the sun is simply becoming more powerful. I'm sure you guys have heard in recent news that we're not the only planet to be going through global warming. Mars and Venus, our neighboring planets, are also going through it. Thus, the power to control global warming would not be in the hands of humans. Also, I have a newspaper article from 1975. It's from Newsweek, and I'll pass half of them this way. You guys can weave them around, and half of them this way. And you guys can each have a copy. Scientists were 100% sure that we were actually going through global cooling. In conclusion, I showed you the Newsweek, in conclusion, I've gone over what global warming is, how humans are affecting it, and why it's being blown into something way out of proportion. I also showed you guys the Newsweek article, and as I said, global cooling was presumed to be the predicament just 32 years ago. If it only took us 32 years to switch the effects from cooling to warming, I'm sure it wouldn't take us very long to reverse the effects again. Thank you.